Carl Benjamin, thank you so much for having me here. I've
Carl.
been contributing to your
Carl
Load
Benjamin.
Seaters media channel for quite a while, and I'm so honoured to, of course, be sitting down with you one-to-one as well. Thank you.
My pleasure, man.
How have you been?
Really well. Really well. Busy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen you've been very, very busy with.
Otherwise, very good. Thanks.
Sargon is his goat,
Now,
dude.
this conversation,
Sargon
I wanted
is
to
his
centre it all
goat.
around atheism, theology in the modern world now, and I wanted to get your views on lots of different topics within the.
I love a
topic
good
of,
chat.
Theology.
Yeah, right.
Would you say that you're on a type of spiritual journey at the minute, or are you not? Are you still an atheist? You know, I believe you were involved somewhat in some conversations.
Do they have
around theological
timestamps?
topics online.
I want to watch all
debates.
this.
Has your view changed over the years?
So I used to be a new atheist by default, basically. I liked watching Christopher Hitchens videos online, like everyone else. And I'd not been raised in a religious society, so I was just a materialist, just like everyone else. And I don't think that's great. I think there are.
Yo, look at the books behind him. An immigrant's love letter to the West. Beautiful, fantastic.
That arise from this, because I think the man is a spiritual animal.
That's what they're showcasing.
But
what else? What's that one? George Orwell? Was it Animal Farm?
Materialism is very.
Oh, 1984. Spotted.
If the universe is just atoms and void, and it mechanically moves on itself to produce certain predictable outcomes, then if that's all that there is, then everything spiritual was essentially nonsense from the word go. And the progress of science kind of implies that, yeah, that is all that there is. And so the more science advances, the more almost ridiculous the spiritual component of human life looks, because the magic in the universe was there to explain things that we didn't have answers to. Why does the sun travel across the sky? Well, Helios and his sun chariot brings it across, and so every single day the sun rises and the seasons change, and the predictable patterns of life are explained with a story that doesn't describe what is actually happening. Science actually seems to describe what is actually happening, and in doing so, the demystification of the universe around us strips away the spiritual element. If it's all just atoms and void moving on one another, then there isn't any room for God.
And why not be a gigantic dragon?
And the persuasive power of science is found in the technological progress that we find ourselves with. The fact that we can sit here and do this is,
it's a good point,
in some way a kind of proof that there's no God.
Those are real gold. Yeah, I didn't even like consider the other decor. I was just trying to read the books behind him. They just have the decor in the room. 6 gold bars and a fucking golden sword.
There isn't technological progress in some way a
quantum
kind of
philosophy.
No God to the materialist perspective, and
he's decking out his dragon lair with loot. Yeah, you show up to Carl Benjamin's studio and there's just piles of gold everywhere. It's just gold coins and
been raised as a materialist.
Rubies.
It's hard,
like a dragon's lair,
to feel spiritual.
Interesting.
The sort of whatever organ in the human soul, in the
goblets,
body that controls the sort of the spiritual feeling that one has, is at best deeply atrophied for me. And so I don't have any religious impulses. I don't feel the need to pray to a God when things are going wrong. I don't feel the need to be part of a spiritual congregation or something like this. And so there's a part of me that feels I'm I have a disability in some way, right? Like people raised in modernity,
yeah,
in
actually
atheistic societies.
His third eye is completely closed. That's crazy.
They don't go to church because they just don't want to, right? Most people, like 90 or 89% of people, something like that, don't go to church. And it's just because they just don't want to. They just don't feel no impulse to do so. Because to them, the universe isn't actually mysterious, and there isn't
It's more like they're
afterlife
lazy.
worth worrying about.
I
And so
killed your
we're
god.
stuck
Yeah, he
in
needs
this
to
position
meet
where
with
a
Rudyard.
bunch of materialist consumers.
You're like,
just
I'm the
existing
retard?
on a rock in space for no reason until we die.
And you say that's bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's great.
Instead of sitting on a chair, Carl Benjamin perches on a pile of gold coins.
I think that's pretty sour. And the atheists who came before us viewed themselves as being very clever. There's a huge amount of vanity in atheism. But particularly vanity, sort of Bertrand Russell's up to the Christopher Hitchens of I'm
And
smarter than
Sargon's not really a vain person. Sargon's really he's not really about ego and vanity.
you. That's why I'm an atheist. It's like, okay, but look at the world you're making. And the world you're making is actually one where everyone takes antidepressants. People kind of hate the place in which they live, and everything, the material quality of everything is declining. Like, things aren't getting better the more atheist we get. Things are getting worse. When was the last time we built something impressive like a cathedral? Could we have some nice buildings? No. We get the cheapest, like, grey-faced, flat tenements that people get to pack into. Because if we're just human cattle, then any transcendent aspect of human life is just, it's a fancy at best.
Carl is from Black
not
Marsh.
important.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
And so this has not been to the benefit of mankind, I think. And yet I don't know if there's a way to stop it.
Right.
Do you feel?
It's like
No, yeah.
It's a pretty.
You just black-pilled
Yeah.
us.
Outlook.
Fuck. Now I don't believe it.
You know, I feel
Now
as
I'm an
though
atheist.
science over there, because I was exactly the same. I used to love watching Dawkins. I loved watching Hitchens as well. And even
It's not Helios.
today with Alex O'Connor,
It's just
and, people like
nothing.
that.
It just exists.
Debating, although Alex O'Connor
It's
become
just
an
gravity.
agnostic through his consistent. I would call it searching personally. Do you feel like you're searching?
No.
No.
Well, I don't feel like I'm missing something.
Mm-hmm. The
problem is
It's not
if you
magic.
approach it in a consequentialist
There's
manner,
no God. It's
not
just
only do you kind of miss the purpose.
we're just on gigantic floating spheres flying millions and millions of miles an hour around a gigantic, bigger floating sphere that's perfectly
God's meant to be the font from which everything springs. So
far
God
away,
is a fundamentally deontological
and the temperature's
concept
just
that
right
precedes all
so that we can
things.
all be
So
alive
trying to
with the moon
reconstruct God from the consequences
perfectly
is
distant
to suggest
to eclipse
that
the
he's
sun.
actually not the wellspring from which everything comes anyway. So the actual attempt itself is self-defeating. So you just can't do it. So
bad but true.
if the consequences are bad and God is the wellspring from which everything comes, you would have to conclude that God made it this way on purpose to challenge us, to test us. And this was the thesis that people throughout the Middle Ages had, because life in the Middle Ages was really tough.
Really tough.
A lot of people really, really suffered. And the amount of human suffering.
They're addressing
just
if God exists,
incomprehensible.
why
And couldn't understand why
bad thing
a loving
happened.
God would want this. And this is why the birth of the scientific endeavor even began in the first place. People like Francis Bacon and Descartes were like, no, we can use our reason to make the world better, actually. And it turned out that they could, but there was a consequence to that, and that was essentially the death of God, which is what Nietzsche was lamenting. And so now we are in a position where it's like, okay, well, maybe the suffering.
He might have the lamest ideology of all time.
Point.
Oh my gosh.
Always.
Sargon deserves the best anal sex, none of that second-rate crap. Mormon is seething hearing about confession. We do that too. You do that to the bishop.
It always reached a peak, though. I found, like, if you look in like the
You
Victorian
idiots!
era, where England especially was gripped with things such as alcoholism, and
They call me danger.
the change wasn't done through political means. It was done through a spiritual aspect of everyone going back to church, and it's like a loop.
Bryson Gray said that the only reason he doesn't sacrifice animals is that there's no temple. There's no way.
The argument is that God allows this to happen
Is that
for
real?
you to draw closer to Him, and I think that's kind of the reason behind, things such as free will and just. and like totally right, Middle Ages were, you know, awful to live in, and because of the so much of the suffering.
It's like I don't know. It's not even like a hard concept. Why does bad thing happen? Because if bad things couldn't happen, that would mean that there's no choice. That would mean that there's no evil in the world. And if there's no evil in the world, then how could anything truly be good? How could anything, if there was no option to choose to do good and to sacrifice and do things and prove that you're good, how could anything be good? How could any good even exist? That would just be nothing. There would just be no existence at that point. Everything would cease.
It's almost God allows this to happen to draw people back to him. And what I've seen over history,
that's not even it either,
is that it is kind of like a loop.
If there was not good, there would be no bad. If there were no bad, there'd be no good. The Middle Ages were awful. Fuck you, motherfucker.
You know, it's kind of almost the
Jude
default
IP
loop
piece of shit. What are you talking about?
So the problem with approaching this with a theological argument.
Wait, is that the Bryson? There's no temple to do that in. If you had a shred of biblical knowledge, then you wouldn't have asked that question. I keep God's commandments that he gave to Moses. That means all applicable commandments, since there isn't a temple and there aren't priests other than Yeshua. That includes the seventh-day Sabbath, Passover, dietary laws, every other applicable commandment. So does he just not believe in the New Testament at all? Is he just like, I don't even understand. How could you, if you believe in the New Testament, how could you do that? Why would you do that? That's so retarded. Do you kill chickens for your sins too, or no? There's no temple to do that in. So aren't you going to go to hell then? Is that really an excuse to? Then how are you paying for your sins? He's a black Israelite? I don't understand that, but does he believe in does he believe the New Testament's real? He thinks you can't sin once you accept Christ? Well, is that even true? He's saying right here that he would do this if there was a temple. He's not a black Israelite. Jews still do it every year, yeah. Bryson can't beat his cock? I mean, his chicken? Yes, I don't know. His black ass just be saying shit. All right, fair enough. Back to Carl Benjamin. Also, Power Channel Live / JimboZoomer Bankroll the show. Keep it on the air. We're at 72% of the way through the dono goal. I should end the show right now because it's 5, but I'll keep going a little while longer. But if you wanted to go till 6, Power Channel Live / JimboZoomer, support it if you've enjoyed the show. If you want to send anything in, feel free to interrupt. Power Channel Live / JimboZoomer today.
Is that it presupposes that which it sets out to prove.
Right.
So if it is the case that God does this, I still have to establish the existence.
What's he saying?
Like a loop. People have, the meme, hard times create, strong
That's retarded.
X, Y, and Z.
That's not why bad things happen.
It's kind of almost the default loop that seems to happen throughout history.
Okay, this guy's retarded.
So the problem with approaching this with a theological argument.
Bad thing happens because God wants us to become strong men and then create good times.
I sent $5.
Like, that's so dumb.
What the hell? What's happened to us?
I don't know, but suddenly I feel all
I
sweet
thank you for
and
the very
warm
generous
and fuzzy.
support.
It
Who sent
seems
that?
we're in a universe where everything is drawn by Disney.
Look, there's our house.
Thank you, oily vagina.
Oh, look how gay!
Big shout out.
Oh, Stewie and Brian, you're just in time for pie.
Did somebody say pie? It's a wonderful day for pie. You can ask all the birds in the sky, and they'll tell you real sweet with a musical tweet.
This is beautiful.
It's a wonderful day for pie.
For pie.
For pie.
For pie.
For pie.
This is wonderful, Brian. Oh, let's live in this universe.
Disney
pretty
Lois is so
intoxicating, isn't it?
fucking
I want
hot,
to hear
says
more
Paul 10
music about
Superfan.
pie.
It's a wonderful day for pie, and it smells a lot better than I.
Everyone in the house.
And this Adam West mouse,
The bees making honey.
This Tom Tucker bunny.
How fun is this, dude?
Because we all agree it's a wonderful, wonderful day for pie.
Dude, how sweet is this?
You want a nice shiny red apple to put in that pie?
No!
Brian, we could spend the rest of our lives here. It's perfect.
Sounds good to me. Doesn't seem to be a thing wrong with this place.
Hello, everybody.
That's where that comes from. That's real?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. This is a Disney universe. Oh, but look how shiny my buttons are here.
Just push the...
Yeah, okay, I'll push the thing.
Jet Set Radio!
Yo, thank you for the
Poppy
very
Sticky
generous
Smelly
support.
said
Let's
$5.
go.
The
Thank
White
you so
Man's
much.
Burden by Rudyard Kipling.
More
Take
Sargon?
up the white man's burden. Send forth the best ye breed.
By
You'll
Rudyard.
bind your sons to exile, to serve your
The
captain's
White Man's
need,
Burden by Rudyard.
to wait in heavy harness, on fluttered folk and wild. Your new court sullen peoples, half devil
Rudyard
and
Lynch.
half child. Take up the white man's
Power Channel
burden,
Live /JimboZoomer.
in
Support the
patience
show.
to abide,
Send anything in you
To
want. We're at
veil the
82% of the way
threat
through
of
the
terror.
donut goal.
and to check the show of pride. By open speech and simple, 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden, the savage wars of peace, fill full the mouth of famine, and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal is nearest, the end for others sought, watch sloth and heathen folly bring all your hopes to naught. Take up the white man's burden, no tawdry rule of king,
Thank you, Sargon.
but
Finally.
toil of serf and sweeper, the tale of common things. The ports ye shall not enter, the roads ye shall not tread. Go make them with your living, and mark them with your dead. Take up the white man's burden, and reap his old reward. The blame of
Holy
those
base.
ye better, the hate of those ye guard. The cry of hosts ye humour,
Very Rudyard, yeah.
slowly towards the light. Why brought ye us from bondage, our loved Egyptian night? Take up the white man's burden, ye dare not stoop to less, nor call too loud on freedom, to cloak your weariness. By all ye cry or whisper, by all ye leave or do, the silent sullen peoples shall weigh your gods and you.
Wow.
Take up the white man's burden, have done with childish days, the lightly proffered laurel, the easy ungrudged praise, comes now to search your manhood through all the thankless
what?
years, cold-edged with dear-brought wisdom,
what?
the judgment of your peers.
My manhood? Thank you for that. Very good. Big shout out. Power Channel Live /JimboZoomer. If you want to support the show, keep it on the air. We're at 82% of the way through the dono goal. If you've enjoyed the show, if it's brought value to your day, support it. Anyway.
Argument is
Either way, I'll probably go till 6. But you should still support the show if you enjoy it and you don't want it to disappear.
that it presupposes that which it sets out to prove.
Right.
So if it is the case that God does this, I still have to establish the existence of God before I can accept that premise. And if the question is
Okay,
there
so the
a
guy,
God?
so Sargon was saying, you know, why, if God exists, why bad thing happen? And this chud on the right said, well, maybe he lets bad things happen so that we're brought back to him, which is just retarded. Like, as a cycle, which is a stupid answer.
You know, do I accept there is the existence of God? Then I can't begin with that, right? So it would have to be a kind of after the fact, post hoc argument, rather than the one that precedes the thing. And I'm not saying this to be a smug atheist. Right?
Logical fallacy.
But there are problems with religious arguments, and there's a reason why they're not winning the arguments against the atheists. And it's actually very frustrating because if you go back and look at the sort of debates that are happening with like Dawkins, Dennett, Harris, and Hitchens back in the, say, 1990s, 2000s, and you look at some of the positions and arguments that people like Sam Harris and Dawkins, less so now, are still making, they're terrible.
Killed our God.
They're really terrible. I watched the Sam Harris debate the other day. It was a fairly recent one, a couple of years ago, where he was like, well, look, if I look up into the heavens and I can't see God, where is he? It's like, okay, but any religious scholar should have been able to dismantle that and say, look, you are approaching this from the wrong perspective, because the argument about God is necessarily transcendental, and so you can't find him in the universe because he is
they did say that
extraneous to it, right? And yet Sam Harris has got away with this for decades. This absolute, I mean, it's a category error at best, and him being just deliberately obtuse at worst, right? And so
everyone else just thinks that's stupid. Church is a retard. You're the retard who listened to him say that and went, oh, that's true. If God exists, why can't I look up and see him? Like, the fuck?
Allowed them to kind of get away with these things and somehow lose the argument.
They should put Oblivion music in the background. They should. That's true. Oblivion.
The risk of getting myself in trouble. It kind of reveals the paucity of the religious argument based on, again, assuming what it sets out to prove, and this not being persuasive to people who do not already assume that case. And so this is why I was being a little fedora tipper there, because as an atheist who would like Christianity to succeed, that argument's not good enough.
Yeah, it was a bad argument.
Do you think modern secularism is failing to provide meaning or stability when it comes to that? And is that why people are now looking back to faith in that respect?
The worst part is
Sam Harris debating Jordan Peterson about religion didn't convince him. Yeah.
Right.
Like, it would be better to have an unstable world in which you had meaning.
Jordan Peterson sitting there explaining that, well, it's not real, but the symbols and the lesson behind the symbols is real, and that's what matters. Jordan Peterson says, well, I don't believe in any of it, but
in a stable world in which you just want to kill yourself. Like, if you know that tomorrow is going to be just like today, and today was terrible, then you know tomorrow is going to be just as terrible, and there's no reason to think the day after that would be any better. And so why wouldn't you just kill yourself?
Yeah, this is the argument that, if we're just a sack of chemicals, then what is meaning? We're just bumping into each other and existing.
And that's the curse of secular modernity, is that that's all it's got to offer. And so this is why it just degenerates into the hyper indulgence of sort of not Epictetus. For some reason I can't remember his name. Greek Kuma. It's on the tip of my tongue. Basically,
I've heard this argument before. The lesson is real. Israel.
The only purpose of life is pleasure.
Right.
The same thing as John Stuart Mill. Epicurus. There we go.
Epicurus.
It's like this. Yeah, been a long day. But the point is, the sort of Epicurean thesis that we're just here to have fun and enjoy pleasure, so let's just do that. Well, okay, well, great. But then you just end up reducing everything to the lowest common denominator, which is pleasure seeking. Which, I mean, the lizard brain.
Dude, he's talking about sex and he's saying lizard brain. Oz? What did he mean by this?
Definitely thinks that that's the right thing to do, but I can think of lots of reasons not to do that. So
I opened by saying, is atheism on the run? What's your take on that question?
I think religion is fighting a desperate rearguard action against a force it doesn't understand. And I mean, even everyone's like, oh, what about the Muslims? The Muslims are becoming secular. Like, Western Muslims are religious for xenophobic reasons, right? They're not religious because they are true, sincere believers. It's a part of their culture to remain Muslim
That's true, but that's just brown
foreign and overwhelming culture.
That's true, but
if you
that's
look
just
at Muslim
all
countries around the
non-white
world,
people.
Just there are TikTok videos of Western Muslims going to a place like Turkey or whatever. And like, they're not fasting during Ramadan. They're not going to the mosque.
Saudi Arabia building nightclubs.
Yeah, they're like, what? They're not acting like Muslims. And it's like, yeah, because again, the argument that underpins all of religion is that God is necessary for the maintenance and operation of the universe, right? And if science proves that actually matter is inert and operates on itself when energy is
That's
applied
not
to
what
it,
religion
then
says.
God has been
Where does he
banished
hear
from
this stuff?
the
Where's he getting
conversation.
this stuff from?
And science is proving its
Who
point
says
by
that?
developing the things that we have.
Who says any of
Religion
that?
has yet to prove its point in the face of that, and I don't even know if it could prove its point in the face of that. And so, even
Your
if
third eye is
there
just
was a
closed,
kind of
Sargon.
desire to become religious,
Sargon. Your third
the
eye is
power of
gone,
science
brother.
and
You're not
materialism
psychic.
is something that I think
You
religion.
have no psychic potential.
People don't
What?
understand the scope of what its argument is against you. You know, its argument is that everything in the universe is theirs and not yours, and you're having. I don't see how you're going to hold that back, frankly. And if I could see a good argument, I would provide it. I'd say, listen, religious people, this is what you need to defeat the evil, atheist, secularist materialism, because it is going to produce a terrible and dystopian world that makes everyone really miserable and want to kill themselves. I don't want my kid. I would like to be religious. I would like my kids to be religious.
Gender swap,
Sargon.
Sargon.
That I'm
Okay.
I'm not, and I'm not suggesting anyone should follow
All right,
my
the
example or
chat,
anything like
dude.
that, right?
You
If
guys are
someone-
sick. Hold on, let's skip 30 minutes in. This is boring.
You've got Theseus. You've got
My
a whole
caffeine
pantheon of
addicted
Greek
ass.
heroes. You've got Gilgamesh, who is 2/3 god and 1/3 mortal. Like the interplay
talking about
between the
Gilgamesh.
divine world and the material realm of human beings, totally common. And like, you know, running back from the Battle of Marathon, was it Pheidippides sees Hermes or something on the road, right? So like the interplay between gods and mortals is totally common. And you get a god like Zeus who just shags everything in sight and produces loads of bastard godlings. This is a totally normal thing. And so in the 1st century AD, there would have been thousands and thousands of people who claim to be the son of God. I mean, you even have it in the Bible. We've got Barabbas, right? That means son of the Father. So that's what he's saying is, I'm the son of God as well, right? So you've got Jesus Barabbas and Jesus Christ. Okay, we've got two guys making exactly the same claim in the Bible, right? So I'm not
that's what that was.
cast aspersions on the text or anything, but like the point is, it's not unusual to find someone claiming to be the son of God. Now,
of course.
what does that mean? Well, we are saying that this is a particular commitment to a set of facts that we would say are not true in the modern secular atheist West, and therefore these people are liars in some way. But actually, that's because our belief system is.
I don't even think that's true. I think Barabbas means like sacrificed for the Father or something, because Barabbas was supposed to be that year's sacrifice, that year's Passover offering, but then they used Jesus Christ instead.
I know he was on. I know he taught in, I believe, John, and he he was going through, essentially, he was supposed to be the fulfillment of the Old Testament and the law. And so it's not to discount the old law, but he was going through it, and I say to you,
this is boring.
You were taught this, but actually this. And a lot of it boiled down to, turning the other cheek instead of just taking injustice at your own sort of accord.
But the point of turning the other cheek was to show the person who had wronged him that he had wronged him, right? Because if you react...
Revenge. And turn the other cheek instead of.
But the but it's not just that. It's to show the person that they've wronged you. Because if someone strikes you in the face and you strike them back, well, now you're just as culpable, right? And the discourse, the dialectic they are not opened, you have played into.
Oh my God!
What Jesus does in this is breaks this dialectic and just says, okay, well, I'll take the other one then. And that's not really saying allow people to hit you. What that's saying is, I mean, he's essentially won a moral argument there, right? He's had a moral disagreement with whoever struck him in the face, and he wins it by not engaging in the dialectic that person's trying to engage in. And so he has sort of checkmated him in that regard. So I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't actually
logically destroyed him.
Turning the other cheek to actually be a moral command.
Logically dismantled him.
A correct strategy to win an argument in this way, rather than it being an immortal moral command. But I'm not a Christian, so don't take my advice.
But you say you have a problem with the turning the other cheek.
Well, the way that Christians interpret turning the other cheek is just don't ever fight back in your own cause.
I disagree with that.
I really hate that.
A lot of Christians hate that too.
Yeah, oh, good, because I'm far more persuaded by Nietzsche.
Dude, these people are so good. Dude, what? Who is he talking about? Like, who is he even talking about?
It'd be better to be the guy making the other guy suffer than being the guy who suffers, frankly.
That's different, because I think it goes into revenge territory. And
well, it's not even about revenge. It's just like I just don't see the advantage of putting yourself at the mercy of your enemies ever, right? And it's like, but maybe they'll feel sorry for us. It's like, why are we giving them that opportunity? I don't. Sorry, I don't want to get to that point where it's like, well, let's hope today is going to be the day that they show mercy on us. Let's just make sure that we're strong and guarded, and we don't have to appeal to the mercy of our enemies.
Yeah,
and they can appeal to us, and you know what? We can be merciful, right? When they're appealing to our mercy, we will be merciful. Because we're us, and we know that we're good people, and we don't want to hurt people, and so we can be merciful to our defeated enemies, rather than praying to God our enemies don't act like Genghis Khan or the Assyrians or something. That's how I feel about it. It'd be better for me to be the judge of when to be merciful, because I'm a much better person than that fellow.
You could argue that's a desire in a way.
It just seems reasonable.
Are there, in your opinion, are there aspects of the modern world that you feel religion, or particularly Christianity, is answering more truthfully than secular culture?
Yeah, I mean, the only place that the modern world the place that the modern world really falls down is on what a person ought to be doing, right? Like no modern philosophy has got an answer to that. So
right.
what ought I be doing today? There's no answer. I mean, what would anyone say? What would liberalism say? What would communism say?
Making money.
What would progressivism say? What would any fascism
running
say?
it up?
Like there's what ought I do?
Running up my cash.
Actually, pray, get up, pray. Love
making my bag.
Go to
getting my prana up.
Send $3 to
Jay-Z Classic. What's this? What's all this? Make money, fuck hoes. The modern world provides plenty of answers to that.
I don't give no fuck, bro. I don't care if the music loud, nigga. I'm not your daddy, nigga. Turn your speakers down, pussy, nigga. Y'all stop complaining like some hoes. Fuck wrong with y'all?
Classic. Thank you for the 3. Very good. True, classic.
Actually have an affirmative doctrine of what a person ought to do. Because all of these others are like, no, I want a perfect system that does this. Okay, but what am I doing? A lot of people, I'm sure a lot of young people just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing any of the things that I'm doing? And I'm just kind of trapped in this rat race without knowing why I'm doing this.
No, there's nothing for 5K. I don't know what
saying,
I would even do.
You need to do this, right? And you need to do this, and you get, for these reasons,
y'all
feel better about it, you'll have done the right thing, God will be pleased with you. Get up, go to church, right? That's a great maxim to live by. It's just, look, just go to church, go do this thing.
Okay. Sargon just doesn't even know about religion at all. Like Sargon straight up just does not even know what he's talking about at all. When he's talking about like what religious people believe, it's like not at all anything any religious person would be arguing at all. And then it's like, what does religion tell us to do? Pray when you wake up and go to church. And that's it. Like, it's just retarded. It's just retarded,
Modern life has
bro.
no answer for what people should actually be doing. Anything you want, bro. We're liberals. Like, okay, but that doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't make me morally good. No.
He has read a person's take on another person's take on religion. Yeah,
a lot of the time,
yeah,
I think
more or
there are a lot of
less.
people who do things, and they're like, actually, I'm kind of ashamed I did that, but I was allowed to do that. So why do I feel ashamed? They're conflicted. They don't know what they're doing. And so religion's a really good way of avoiding that, especially Christianity is a really good way of avoiding that and helping those people who otherwise don't know what they should be doing.
Purpose.
And not just purpose though, but instruction as well.
Yeah, structure and purpose.
Yeah.
Which
it's
I
for
think
idiots cattle.
is what
unlike
every
Sargon of
every
Akkad.
person on this earth
of Akkad.
essentially longs for, in a way,
Yeah,
and
it's
worship.
true. And to know they're doing the right thing. And religion...
It's true. It's for the peasants.
When it's in a correct, kind, and honestly, genuinely quite Christian form, it usually provides...
Thank you, Bradpog. Bradpog says, dude, not okay. Jimbo's is literally a fucking human being, and you're talking about him like he's your porn model. Thank you. True.
Besides that, you know, it's like, look, this is your instruction for the day. Do this. It's like, okay, good. You know, a lot of people need that.
Unfortunately, a lot of churches have gone down the route of social justice. And,
I hate it.
Yeah, trust me.
But the local church, I got my kids christened in my wife's local church.
Nice.
So her family have been there, and yeah, it's fine. I'm very happy to have it done.
That's awesome.
But the problem is, it's run by a pair of women, and it's very
Women
modern.
pastors, right?
It's very modern, right? And it's not that they're bad people; they're great people. They're lovely, right?
But he destroys them in debate whenever he walks in there.
Do everything. It feels like
Sargon goes in there and he pulls out the docking arguments against the female pastor at his local, I don't know, church, parish, whatever a British person's gonna call that. And he creams them. They just get destroyed.
Tony Blair is running the church. Like, it feels that things can only get better in there, and so they'll have like. It's very sort of 2000s consensus church, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll have like a pop song, a modern pop song with lyrics dubbed over it, pro Jesus lyrics.
No.
You know, Jesus Loves Me to some Robbie Williams tune or something. And yeah, exactly. I hate it, man. And I'm literally at the point where
he hates Christian rock.
Well, it's not. That's the point. It's kind of the plastic modernity imposing
We're told
itself.
to reject the world, not mold it together with our
I would
teaching.
much rather, and I tweeted this the other day, I would much rather
The problem is that it's woke.
go into
That's
a
true.
very solemn affair with
That's sad and
Gregorian
true.
chants, and I have to sing hymns in a particular way, and then I get a Bible thumping lecture from someone calling me a sinner, giving me a concrete and a incisive moral argument, than sit there through the plastic modernity of Christianity as filtered through the lens of being a woke progressive,
women.
right? I would be at least interested in the Gregorian chants and the spirituality of it, and then being told that I'm a sinner that's going to burn in hell forever. I would be way more interested in hearing his argument than being told actually Christianity is just everyone about being nice and being inclusive.
I think
That's true.
I think it's insulting. Actually,
It's
to
about having
hear
a sword.
people say, well, Christianity, like you said, it's just about being nice. It's just about being peaceful and everything. No, you're taught to rebuke. It's
about
you're taught
combat,
to command, and you're commanded to go out and
not peace,
spread the
but
gospel,
a sword,
but not with the sword, of course.
And I just want to be clear: the
You're
ladies
such
who
a
run the church
chud,
are
dude.
lovely.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
They're both
lovely.
chuds. It's two
And they're just doing
chuds.
their best.
No, it is peace.
In the modernist frame.
It's not a sword.
You know, and
That's the whole point.
There's no reason to think that they should
You
be able to
fucking
understand
idiot.
what we're talking about here and have a knowledge of this kind of conversation and think, oh yeah, no, I have to break out of the modernist frame in order for Christianity to thrive, right? There's no reason for them to think that.
Or are those real
because they're
bars of
just
gold
normal
or cheddar
people
cheese?
in the world, very middle of the road.
That would be
people
crazy.
just doing the
It's
best they
just
can to
cheddar
keep their
behind
faith
them.
alive, and this is the kind of form that it takes in modernity. I just hate that kind of form.
In my axe,
I can't
Deus
stand
Volt.
You should come to an Orthodox
I can't.
liturgy.
I'm English.
No, you can. Of course you can.
No. I'm spiritually. I can't. I'm a Protestant.
said $5.
Oh, thank you, Wiener Tugger. Very good. Wiener Tugger, can you explain to Sargon why Christianity is important? Thank you for this. Okay, finally. Real music. Shake it, shake it. Needed this. Needed this. These bars, that'd be yummy, you know. Real millennial music, finally. At last. Real music. I love having just like the chud explain to Sargon. Like just really poorly argue Christianity to him, and then Sargon go, my problem with Christianity is that it's all about forgiveness and peace, and not about action, and not about, it's all about forgiving and not about order. And then the guy goes, oh, I know, that's not real Christianity. Have you heard of bringing not peace, but a sword? Have you heard of the Crusades? Like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. I was singing this song like 30 minutes ago. When I was a small kid, these animations literally gave me the worst nightmares ever. Really. Why? Oh yeah, they're kind of creepy actually. Actually, you know, it is a little creepy. I see that. Remember when bro asked Nick if now is a time for men of action? Bad dude's always saying we need to take action. You first, bro. It was me. Stop bothering him. Because they look disgusting. Coraline eyes. Coraline's creepy too, yeah, that's true. No, it is just funny when it's like when Christians are arguing like, no, we actually are a religion of violence. It's like, what? How? In what way? Thank you for that, with the very generous support. I appreciate it. Big shout out. Let's go. Okay, back to this. Back to the boring shit.
Denominations,
dude, okay, we're gonna skip through this. I swear.
It becomes more about, you know,
let him cook for 1 second.
As opposed to like domination over or dominion over particular institutions, as opposed to a spiritual thing.
I just can't help but feel that because I'm English, I should go to a Protestant one.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I was a Protestant for 1.5 years.
The Orthodox ones look lovely, though.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they do look very exciting.
Cool. Yeah. And you've got all the Gregorian chants and everything, and all in ancient Greek as well, and hearing it all that, it's very cool. What is the biggest question you still wrestle with when it comes to faith, God, or the church?
Can Sargon unblock me? I'm sorry I called you.
To be honest.
No.
Please unblock me on Twitter.
Like, excuse me for saying this. It sounds...
Sargon.
I do hear some wrestling. I don't know if that even makes sense. Like, there are some things where you go, well, it is nice. Because you said earlier, I wish I had that experience. So what is it that's stopping?
He doesn't believe in it.
Stops a person who's in a wheelchair from getting up and walking. I don't know, but it's...
You feel yourself as
Jovian said $5.
Yeah, it's just not even dead.
Thank you, Jovian. What's this? Oh, the Coraline soundtrack. All right, what else we got? Where's my Twitter? Oh yeah, reopen Twitter. You disagree with me on literally anything, you're retarded. True. What is... Does he still have the chuds in his replies? I followed you into a space and came out retarded. Yeah, I bet. Actually, if they're talking about that space we joined earlier, that's true. That's true. Okay, next. He wants Dave Blunts to rap a gas chamber song.
Yeah. Whatever drums I can make, you can just tweak it a little bit and then just fit it to where you feel. And I'm gonna make more, obviously. Of course.
Yo, I need Dave Blunts to write to this gas chamber song, bro. He keep on being like, I can't catch it and shit. But I know like his flows.
Man, I just need Dave Blunts to rap to this gas chamber song, but he just won't. Fuck. Damn. I've never seen this movie. It freaked me out. I never watched it. Yeah, it just doesn't look appealing. It's like a girl movie, I feel like. Coraline. I have that book. Good book. Really good book. Got a lot of good points. A lot of insightful information in it. More Lane Gang. Dude, he did pass. Dude, he's not even trying and he's passing the green line tests. Holy sh... Okay. Okay. Wait a second. Wait a second, actually. Are you seeing this? Because, like, people haven't really been doing that lately. So if someone's doing that, it's like they're not consciously doing it. They're not thinking about it, you know? Cristiano Ronaldo is now an official character in Fatal Fury. Don't care. Don't care. Hazan responds live to Ethan saying he's down to debate. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Oh yeah, I got a pee real bad, and then I want to do gaming news because we still have more of these. Here, watch. Okay. No. Which I put on for a sec. I was gonna say watch Sargon be a chud for a sec. But that just seems fucked up. What do I leave on for a second? Paul Joseph Watson, it's out of control. I'm getting Count Dankula and Paul Joseph Watson videos in my recommendations for this Sargon video. This all sucks. Candace is live. Ghost in the Shell director says political correctness has gone too far. Finally, thank goodness. Rhett from Good Mythical Morning left Christianity. It's over. All right, we're blackpilled.
Yeah,
back to this chat. I'm just gonna pee.
Alive. Like, you know, you could be asking me, well, why aren't the wings on your back fluttering? I'm like, I don't have wings on my back. You know, so what are you talking about? You know, and that's just how I feel. It's like, I don't feel an emptiness because of a lack of religion, right? So I don't feel a need to, I'm not like, you know, I'm not grasping after religiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get home and I'm just doing what I do when I get home. And then I'm, you know, doing whatever I do afterwards and read some books. You know, if I'm lucky, I'll play a video game in the evening and then I'll go to bed. And I don't feel spiritually unfulfilled. And I don't know why. And I would like it if I wanted spirituality. But I don't feel the need for it. And I think a lot of people in the modern world are kind of like me. They're not like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that means for the question of religion going forward.
Well, if you ever did come to believe in God, what kind of God would you hope he is?
Well,
I'm back.
I mean, I
left the music on. Whoops. What's he saying?
It's the same God as the new.
Not Goyslop. Dude, I can't leave Goyslop on. How am I gonna leave Goyslop on? You have to scroll.